Welcome to the Nest of Kin. Today we are doing our very first interview with our younger brother Eckram. He is the stoic of the family, the baby, and we're very excited to talk with him today. Eckram, how you doing?
Doing pretty well. I shaved tonight. I'm looking young, looking youthful. I'm ready to get this going.
Youthful, very youthful for a 17, 18-year-old kid, but or
Yes.
young man, I guess.
I
So
like that.
again, let me ask you this one thing. Me and Hiromi have obviously been growing apart. We're not growing apart, but we've grown up together, but separate. We don't really like the same things. We don't really do the same things. And I wanted to know, how does that put you as a younger sibling, seeing your two older siblings kind of go at it every week or every other week, and using you as a middleman?
I mean, I think it's very much. I think one time we had a conversation like this in the on when we went on a cruise trip, and I said that I'm basically like if y'all were to mix both y'all together, and like what you would get if you made that into their own person, right? Because obviously I get the video games and like I don't know weird little stuff like that from you, anime, cool stuff, and then I get the more like media stuff from me, my sister, like the music, the movies, the fashion, things like that. And I think it's cool.
So, what kind of I wouldn't say skills, but what kind of qualities do you think you gained from being the younger sibling and kind of watching us do everything before you?
Um, well, I don't get it as much anymore, but I feel like I used to get that I was like more mature for my age, which I think that's kind of weird to say, but I mean, it makes sense. I used to hang around, for example, Uzziel, a bunch of his friends, and I mean, there's a big age gap there, 8 years, and then some of his friends would be even older than that. So I have a lot of those like more grown perspectives that I could leech off of, add to my own personality.
And I feel like we kind of had a unique experience because you and I we didn't go to the same high school, but you and I went to the same high school. And it's a very
We
small
did.
place. So do you feel like the fact that our teachers remembered me first and then saw you coming in, do you think they expected something from you and that helped you kind of grow more into what I like to do? Or you think it kind of threw you in the other direction where you kind of tried to separate yourself?
Yeah, that part. I think definitely going to the same high school, and I think more when we were actually still in school together. I mean, obviously we're 4 years apart, so I was barely starting middle school, you were barely starting high school, that kind of situation. But we would have a lot of the same teachers, right? So when I would go to, for example, Miss Wendell or whatever, she or like some other teachers, I don't know, they would tell me like, "Oh, your sister's so good, like she's so smart, she applies herself really well, and you don't really seem to care. Like why is that?" And I think it did kind of, I wouldn't say discourage me, but it gave me less of a reason to try. Like it was just like, okay, like I'm just not that person. I don't know what you want me to do, and I'm not going to try and prove to you that I am that person. I don't care. But I think now, I mean, seeing you like as that example did definitely help out. Now as a senior or whatever, I'm trying to get my grades up. I'm trying to like get into the colleges, do all that stuff. And our brother here didn't go to college. Nothing wrong with that, but seeing you go to college definitely inspired me to try and go to college as well. Because if you can do it, I can do it.
Facts. And honestly, that's also what I wanted to talk about. I didn't go to college. Idomi's almost about to complete college. So seeing those two, I guess, paths in front of you being developed before you even get to that, did that help you like make a decision? Like, hey, maybe I don't like the way this is kind of going, or I don't like the way that, maybe I didn't go straight to school, but I started working right away. So did you think, okay, he's making money, but he's not getting the studies going? And on the other hand, Idomi's making studies, but she's not really working as much because of timing and stuff. Did that help you kind of figure out what you wanted to do?
Definitely, definitely. I think as you mentioned, like I saw you work a lot, and I don't know if you can recall to the summer. I worked a lot. Idomi was talking the other day about how like working 50 hours is so much. I was like, bro, I was pulling in like 80, 90 hours in the summer. Like it's not really, it's just something I do. But I feel like I got that from you. Like seeing you work a lot, I was like, oh, okay, like, like I said before, he can do it, I can do it. But also, I'm not trying to skip out on the college experience. I think it's something that's fundamental to the newer generation of people, and I think that it's something that, I mean, it's just like it's social. You're learning social things, and you're also learning whatever you want to apply to yourself. For example, let's say you want to be a astronaut. You got the astrophysics, all that math,
Yeah.
whatever. So
So
you know,
you're kind of like the Hannah Montana of the family. You got the best of both worlds. You got to see both things develop, and you're like, hey, I like this, I like that, and not just with
yeah,
school, also with things that we do. Like
yeah,
you hang out
absolutely.
with
You get to pick
Hiromi.
and choose.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we drag you into things that we do, like maybe more when you were younger, but I would take you to the gaming conventions or, to the shops or whatever. And Hiromi takes you to Taylor Swift concerts. She takes you to the movies. Does that also kind of play into your likes and dislikes and your personality now?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, going to the gaming conventions, I remember. I mean, that was sick, and I remember even since you did that with me, I did that with Romy the following year because you weren't able to. I forgot what the reason was, but I think you were in Mexico.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, like I still want to go, and I was too young to go by myself, so I was like, we're gonna take someone with me, Romy. And then with the concerts too, like I'm not really I'm not really a going out kind of person, but he took me to that Taylor Swift concert, and I said like, that's really cool. Concerts are cool. And then I went on my own concert, and then to follow up even more, I took my girlfriend to a concert, just to kind of get that experience of like going to a concert and not really knowing the music, because like Taylor Swift, I listen to Taylor Swift, but some of the songs I was just sitting there like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Um, that same thing happened when I took my girlfriend. I was like, I get the gist, but I don't really know the exact lyric.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna kind of sway our conversation here. I mentioned in my introduction that you kind of like to take on more of a stoic approach to things. I want to ask you kind of how that started, what really led you to that, and what do you think interests you most about practices like that?
Well, I try. I wouldn't say I'm like a sage. But I think what like fundamentally put that onto me was, again, you guys, like y'all would always argue and bicker, but y'all would never like really confront each other with the truth. And I think that only created more bickering and more arguing. So I like to keep it, 10 toes down, I like to keep it real. And I think Stoicism does offer that. I mean, you just live according to nature and you tell your truth.
Now, be completely honest. Do you think that anyone else in our family has the stoic qualities that you love so much, or you think you're kind of a lone wolf in this?
Nah, nah. I think everybody has their own way of Stoicism. Like, it's not something that you, I guess, administer like every second of the day. Sometimes the stoicism's like really good, you're really sitting there like unbothered, and sometimes it gets to you. But I think the attitude of trying to apply it is what matters. And I think some family members do. And we don't really talk to our cousins, so I can't speak on that. But I mean, I would hope that they're applying it because that would just make a better world, in my opinion.
All right. And sorry, still on this stoic uh, path that we're talking about. When did you think, or what did you see about Stoicism? Is it like it's not a religion? It's kind of like a teaching, from what I know. But
Principles,
what
yeah.
drove you into like, you know what, I want to learn more about this? Was it the fact that we kept bumping heads, and I kind of want to say our ego is the reason that we kept bumping heads? We both have
Mhm.
like the strong, I'm not gonna admit that I'm wrong. I'm not gonna like look bad. Do you think from that you kind of like pulled and was like, okay, I don't want to go through these same things?
Mhm.
Or what lecture pulled you into Stoicism?
Okay. Yeah. So um, I think it's honestly just the way, like the upbringing, right? So I feel like always throughout childhood, throughout my whole life, I've been told like, oh, there's not too much empathy. And sometimes that's for the better, sometimes that's for the worse. But I like to think that that's for the better. Like, who wouldn't want a rational thought? I think emotions as a state, not as a being. Like you're not your emotions. Your emotions are like you in that moment. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why I took such a liking to it. As to how I got it, I mean, you guys know I'm like a huge Joe Rogan fan. And then he had, I forget who it was, but he had one of his like co-guests, and he was like talking about stoicism and Marcus Aurelius, and he was just talking about how much of like uh good ruler Marcus Aurelius was in his time. And I mean, that's inspiring to think of a man that can rule such a big place and rule it so well and rule it for so long too. And I mean, it's kind of tragic. Like when you read his book, the beginning, he's just his book is just to himself. It wasn't even supposed to be published. He probably would have like died of embarrassment if it got published. And he also wrote it in like a separate language. It wasn't his native tongue, which is so crazy to me. Like, how are you gonna write a diary in a different language? It's like if I was to write a diary in German, just because screw it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was just so interesting to me, and that's why.
So it's
That's
the understanding of like the complexity that makes up emotions and like oneself that you trying to like hone down and control that pulled you in.
absolutely, yeah. I think, yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't. That's an interesting one.
No, I mean that's
I would
and
agree with
valid.
you.
It's I mean I don't need like an exact answer from you. I'm just saying, is that like you just took an interest because you want to have your emotions in check and you want to be like the
Absolutely.
level.
I mean, you've seen people like, one of the greatest quotes is like, a man a man who does an action from anger is to be more held accountable. Or no, a guy who does an action out of pleasure is to be more held accountable than a man who does it out of anger. Because a man who does it out of anger, like he's not thinking rationally. He's just like in the moment, boom, he's just doing things. But a man who does it out of pleasure, he might do it like knowing it's bad, but he wants it so bad that he just doesn't care. And I think like, why risk something just for that satisfaction, that gratitude in that moment, you know?
Mhm.
Same thing with the anger too. Like, why be so mad that you ruin something when you could just take a step back, think about it. Maybe it's not worth it.
It's interesting to me that like Uzziel and I don't really know much about this. So you've taught yourself everything that you know about Stoicism and about everything that you're talking about. I want to ask you if there's a specific person or a specific place online or a specific book that kind of led you into all of that. Do you remember what sparked that interest in your head?
Absolutely. There's this. If you go on Spotify, there's this. I don't know who is some guy, but he has episodes where it's just practical stoicism, and he talks about how you can apply stoicism in the modern day and how to make stoicism work for you, how to like tailor it for your own needs. Because he talks about like for death, certain people like death takes a big like toll on them. Like, oh, you lost someone, it's so tragic. But I mean, the way you frame it, you losing someone, like, you're not losing anybody, you're just giving them back to nature where it originated from. So it kind of takes, I feel like, less of a toll on the person. And so
Um,
yeah, to answer your question, yes, practical stoicism on Spotify.
Practical. So it's almost
nice shout out.
facts.
I want to ask, so since you're talking a lot about self-control, and just different mindsets in that, again, tying into the fact that we don't really practice that, do you think that you learning about Stoicism and trying to apply it to your life has helped you avoid the type of arguments that we've had in our relationship with us?
With you guys, maybe, but I think it's also brought on um, not maybe not arguments, but discussions. Because I think a lot of times y'all like to look at me and be like, "Oh, you're not thinking about it right. You're not thinking about the emotional applications of this." And I mean, yeah, because at the end of the day, like, that's not really something that's in like my view. It's kind of in my blind spots. But I'm
You're
trying to
not
work on that.
easy.
Yeah, but I'm trying to work on that. And I think it's more of Hold on, could you repeat the question? Because I think if you repeat it, I'll get like, I kind of lost my train of thought. But just repeat it real quick.
I was basically asking if you think that you applying this Stoicism to your life has helped you avoid arguments with us, pretty much.
Mm. Um, yeah, and I think also with other people as well, like with friends. I know since high school, everybody knows how high school drama is. It's so like BS. I'm not really much of like a friend guy. I don't have a lot of friends. But I am very like friendly with people, and I love to see when other people get in like really childish drama, like, oh, you were talking to my girlfriend or something, and it's like, dude, like, just take a step back. Why? Like, when people try to bring that energy towards me, it's like, all right, bro, stop. Like, you don't want to be friends with me, you don't want to talk, like, don't. I don't I don't care.
I think that's a very mature approach to high school and high school drama.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to ask you, so you mentioned that it can cause arguments between us, the fact that you know about this and you apply this to your life and we don't. Because I feel like it's kind of natural for differences to cause rifts and arguments every now and then. But I wanted to ask you, what do you think older siblings in general should keep in mind when watching or kind of experiencing their younger sibling go their own way, find their own path, find their own interests? Like, what do you think an older sibling should keep in mind or do to support that?
I think this is a very good one, especially since we had a conversation about this yesterday. Um, I just think, keep in mind that you don't own them. Like the younger sibling, they're their own person, and yes, you can dictate kind of where they go, and you have a very strong influence over them. Because I mean, at the end of the day, or the way I see y'all, like I respect y'all. I hope to keep y'all in my best wishes. I hope y'all keep me in y'all's best wishes. But I think at the end of the day, like if we have disagreements, if I think a certain kind of way, like that's my way of thinking, and y'all shouldn't have to force me to be in y'all's line of sight. I think it's good that I kind of have my own little way.
Yeah. And it's I mean, adding into that, I do think when you first started to show interest in stoicism, I remember we were very much like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're kind of just following up because you're seeing it on social media or whatever. But now that we're actually seeing you, or at least I can't say for maybe yes, but we're seeing you actually take this seriously, and it's good. You're learning good things. You're maturing very fast for your age, which is not a bad thing. And like you said, you are trying to fix those little things that we make. We tell you like, hey, maybe learn a little bit more of how you said the feelings or empathy or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And we
That's a
tell
big
you
one.
about it, but it's not. I mean, obviously, it's out of good health, and we do it because we love you. And I like this path that you're following, even though every conversation might get a little shaky because of I don't understand exactly what you're talking about. But I do like that you're being this mature person and kind of like staying on you're not letting us sway you away from what you want. And I think that's very good.
Yeah, and I think it's also good that y'all do have y'all's like little influences, because I think it kind of teaches me a little bit about like maybe I should listen, maybe I shouldn't like so strictly like follow the set of rules that I have for myself. I think sometimes Iromi said this yesterday, like she sees that I don't really allow myself that human error, which I mean I could see how she would think that, but I have to disagree. Like I do allow myself to errors. I just hold myself at a higher standard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's good that y'all kind of bring me back down a little. Like, okay,
We'll
relax. You're still a kid. You're still human.
A little reality
You can
check
make
every now and
mistakes.
then. Doesn't hurt
Yeah.
anybody. But
Mhm.
let me kind of move away a little bit from that stoicism. And it's not always been bad between all three of us. We've had good moments. We've had, laughs between us three, especially in the last couple of years. I feel like all three of us have started to form a stronger bond as siblings. And I wanted to ask you, you've had different experiences with both of us. Like we talked earlier, we went to the gaming conventions. You go with Hiromi to concerts, to the movies. We play video games together. We watch anime together. We go to the conventions and stuff. What are some memories that you're like, you know what? These are core memories of my siblings. For
Core
example,
memories of
me with you would be like taking you to that first convention. A little kid with the little
yeah,
keys going
holding
on.
that
Yeah,
little
so much
gun.
shit.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
it. It's amazing.
I love it
But I
too.
want to know
It's
like
good.
what's one thing that you're like, oh, this kind of calls to this calls to Seattle.
This is kind of crazy. For me, I think it's more of like those rides to school, man. Oh my god, I would dread them. Like every morning, it'd be the same music. It'd be the same her yapping about something that Taylor Swift did that I really don't care about. But I think in hindsight, you can kind of appreciate that because it's like I don't know. Not a lot of people know that, and like it's weird even that I know that because I know more than like most of the girls my age know about Taylor Swift. But I think it's also cool because it connects me more to my sister. And then with you, definitely the gaming convention, and then that one fateful night that changed my day when you were asleep. We had the beds, I think, on the floor. Like we didn't even have no like bed frames or nothing. And you were watching Naruto, that one episode where there's like a, I think it's like a was like a puppet Naruto with the
Oh,
nine
yeah.
tails that he's trying to suck the chakra out of Naruto, and that's when I was like, oh wait, this kind of goes hard, and then I watched it on my own, and then
That kind of pulled
you know
you into
the
your
uprising of the
wrestling.
anime. Yeah.
That's dope. All right. Well, we've kept you up for a minute, but I have one more question. And this is, we're going to crack your brain about this one a little bit. But be honest. And, this is a serious topic. This could change lives.
Oh no.
Who is your favorite sibling? If
Who
you
is the
had to spend 24 hours in an island with one of us two, right? Scenario, right?
Oh, that's two different questions. You're asking two different questions. The island question,
Let's
I'm gonna
skip
have
the
to
island.
say,
We'll leave the island for another time. But
okay.
I'm gonna pick you for the island.
Well,
Am I wrong? Would I be? I mean, come
let's
on.
skip the island. We'll leave the island for a later time. But
Okay.
what is? Let me see. Who is? I don't want to say who's your favorite, but that's really the question. Who is your favorite? Who do you vibe with the most? Who you're like? You know what? I want to have a good time. I'm gonna go hit up this person.
I feel like a mother in this situation.
No pressure.
No pressure, but you're in the next door. You can be me. No, I feel like a mother in this situation. I feel like y'all both have y'all's like little moments. Like if I want to have a good time playing video games and I want to have like fun with that, I'm not gonna hit up Hitomi because one, she's she doesn't know how to play video games, and two, like she has no awareness, right? So I'm going with you on that one. And you're funny. Your little one-liners, like whatever. If I wanna like I don't know, like talk to someone about something really like I don't know, like a safe space, I would say it's Hitomi for sure. Like I don't know. Yeah. Like she has a more mature look, and I feel like just as a woman, a more emotional look on things, which I think is something that I need. It's definitely something that I look forward to. So yeah, I think y'all both have y'all's moments. If we had to break it down, like life or death, which one's
give me the answer that I'm looking for?
Which one's the best? I have to go with you because we've been closer longer. Hold on, we've been closer longer. But in recent times, I would say Hitomi.
Oh.
Because you moved away. Because I moved away.
I don't know how clear of an answer that was, but
that's pretty clear.
Listen.
Conversations to be
they're bringing my price and champagne coming in already. Frame me.
No.
Well, I guess that rounds up our little interview.
Am I gonna get a brother discount for that one, or
maybe?
What's going on? Oh, okay.
So, last question, wrapping it up. Is there anything that you want to talk about that we haven't covered?
Yeah. How do y'all view me as a younger sibling? How do y'all navigate, like, whenever I bring y'all maybe a little trouble or something?
That's a good one. That is a good question.
I think I see you as a very mature person. I feel like I always have. You've always you've never taken a very emotional approach to things, although sometimes you do tend to. I think you're a very logical person, and it does pay off. Sometimes it limits you a little bit, but I would say that for the most part, it builds you into a really good person.
Yeah, I think, same but not the same. I think as your oldest brother, I don't know. When you come to me, you don't really come to me with a lot of your problems, but when you do, I try to at least give you the way that I would solve it, or at least from an outside perspective, kind of give you advice from there. I do try to give you reality checks when you get a little bit too hectic and you start, going too much into the stoic mindset of yours. But yeah, I think you're dope. You're obviously my favorite duo. We're cracking down on
the Bird Brothers. Come on.
Yeah. Hop on, first game, first win type stuff.
Sounds like.
So yeah, you're dope. You're kind of more of a friend and a brother at the same time. So I don't know if that kind of answers.
I'm glad. Yeah. I mean, definitely. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really have a whole bunch of friends, but I definitely like value y'all as friends. Like, I know some people will say, "Oh, you're so close with your sister." Like, yeah, a friend, like they're cool one day, the next day I don't talk to them. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't want to talk to me. I don't care. I'm gonna talk to you, bro. Like we live in the same house. What are you gonna do? Run away? Like,
True.
Well,
same thing with you. Like, what are you gonna do? I know you, bro.
Facts. Yeah. I mean, give it 2 days. Eventually we'll need something out of each other.
Exactly.
We always get over it.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Wisdom from the man himself. A little insight into the siblinghood of the nest of kin here. I'm glad you all tuned in for this episode. Come back every Monday for the next interview, next activity. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
All right, brother. Bird Brothers out.